Megan Levy here with tough finalist Ramsey Nujem, and this is your first fight in the UFC after that tough finale.
Yeah.
How did it feel walking out there in this big arena, UFC 137? It's a huge card.
It felt great. It felt a lot more natural. I took the pressure off myself. I had a great camp. I was ready to go, and I wasn't stressed about anything. I was in shape. I prepared for every situation. So I was, before I walked out, we were dancing in the back, having a good time. So making jokes and. I don't want to talk about the jokes in public because they're inappropriate, but we're making jokes, having a good time before my fight.
And we were talking off camera a little bit. You haven't fought in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
How did it feel when you got the phone call? Okay, you're going to fight Danny Downs. Is it a relief when you can start doing a training camp?
Yeah, it's, like a lot of people, I've been on ice, and it kind of sucks because you only get paid when you fight, and, that's my job as a fighter, so that aspect sucks, but, it was good. It was a good time. I really, looked into myself and, found, where I made mistakes and I can make adjustments and stuff like that. And, honestly, I'm still really new at the sport, and I got to spend a lot of time on focusing on my hands, which I felt were good tonight. I still have holes in my game, but I won the stand-up battle against a stand-up striker. And so I obviously been working with Hackelman and then my coach Jason Merlick on the ground and stuff like that.
When you found out you were fighting Danny Downs, did you ever have any idea that he'd be as tough as he is? I mean, the kid's got so much heart because you had him in about 1 million different submissions, and he never once tapped. He always got out.
Yeah, I expected it. I mean, after watching that fight with Jeremy Stevens, he saw him rip his shoulder out, and he kept on going. But, really, I knew I could go in there and dominate a 3-round fight. And, I wasn't stressing about the finish. I would have loved to finish him because I'd love to be in the running for a bonus. But, it is what it is. But, I won the fight. I feel good about that. And I expected this, a 3-round grind where I'm just kind of grinding. That's my style of fight. Never sit in one position, and always working to beat him up, so I feel good about it.
At one point, he had you in a crucifix. I believe it was the second round. How close was he with it, or did you feel threatened at all?
Yeah, I was trying to take him down, and I was on the fence, and I switched to a low single, and because he was digging his feet in that hole, and so I was having a hard time lifting, pulling him off. I really couldn't do much, so I went down there, and it was just more of an awkward position. It wasn't tight. I wasn't going to tap to that. It was just kind of, he had my arm caught weird, and I knew I was slipping out slowly. It just took a minute for me to finally get my head out. And then once I got out, I was in a dominant position, and I knew I'd end up in this position and on his back, which, ended up happening. So I wasn't stressed, and I knew where I was, and I knew what was going on. I mean, I train with some of the best grapplers and submission artists, so I've been put in a lot of bad positions, and been submitted a lot of times at practice, so I know when I'm going to get submitted, and so I felt comfortable there.
After your great performance tonight, this was your UFC debut kind of at 155 because you were in the house at 170, but this is not the first time you fought at 55, is that correct?
No, I have a couple fights at 55 before I went on the show. The only reason I had fights at 70 is just because I wasn't really sure if I was a fighter. I was kind of just, at first I was training with Court because he was like, hey, you want to come? And Brock Jardine's another guy in our camp. And they just said, we need a wrestler to come in and take us down. And they'd go in there, they'd punch me in the face, and I was taking them down. And then they kind of pushed me into a fight. And I was like, hey, that was fun. I'll do it again. But, I'm focusing on going to school, and did it again. And it was just kind of, I did it at 70 because that was my weight. And then, I decided I really want to be a fighter. So I was like, well, I got to make a cut because I'm too small. So did that. And then the opportunity to be on the show at 70, of course, I'm going to, take that opportunity.
What made the light bulb go off and say, okay, this is what I want to do for sure?
It was shortly after I have one loss outside of the UFC. I got armbarred, and, it was like, man, this sucks. And I'm like, why do I care so much? This is just kind of something I've been doing. I didn't know jiu-jitsu at all. Like, I was in a fight, and the guy threw an armbar on me, and I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was like, this kind of hurts my elbow, and it was just kind of funny. And after that, I was at school. I was doing my internship, and I love going to school, actually. I really do enjoy college. I get good grades. I study hard, and my business management degree, and I was studying, and I was going to school, and I was like, it's time to get a real job. And I was like, maybe I don't want a real job. And then I lost that fight, and I was like, well, I really enjoyed training for that fight and doing that. So I started kind of getting into that, and then I fell in love with the sport.
Right, you had your big win. You're an official fighter.
Yeah.
Who do you want to fight next?
Yeah, I didn't really think about it, and so I've been asked a couple times, but at this point, it's nothing no in particular. I just want to keep fighting, keep learning, and just slowly keep building up as a fighter. I'm still inexperienced, and so whoever they want to give me, I'll take that fight and, keep winning and keep moving up. And then eventually when I'm ready, I'll start calling people out.
Well, congratulations on the win. And are you going to wear that costume you wore to weigh-ins?
I'm going to wear that costume tonight, Saturday night. It's Halloween, of course.
If you're in Las Vegas, be on the lookout for that.
Girls get to dress slutty, and guys don't.
And boys don't get to dress slutty? Is that even real? Yeah. Boys, slutty boys?
Yeah, I want to be a slutty boy.
All right, well, have fun with that. Go enjoy Halloween. Thanks, Ramsey.